Happy Friday and welcome to our first virtual summit of 2025, the March Author Showcase. Yay! We're thrilled to have you join us today. The Author Showcase Summit is an extraordinary event bringing together 5 remarkable and influential authors, including our host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Each author will share their unique insights, offering a rare glimpse into the minds behind their captivating works and passion. This summit promises to be a celebration of storytelling, creativity, and the power of words. So, without further ado, it's my honor and privilege to introduce our summit host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. She's the CEO of RHG Media Productions and the founder of Your Purpose Driven Practice, a global influencer, a #1 international best-selling author, publisher that's helped over 900 authors become bestsellers, a radio show host, an empowerment leader, and the creator of the Speaker Talent Search. Rebecca has personally contributed to 40 plus published books, multiple magazines, and has been quoted in major media such as The Huffington Post, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, and Thrive Global. Today and every day, she wants you to shine. And with that, Rebecca, let's start the celebration.
Well, thank you so much, Misty. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to be here with all of you today. Regardless of the weather that you have going on, we can choose to shine and bring our light forward. And so we were talking a little bit about that behind the scenes, how we have different weather situations going on. And so we just want to beam love and light and connection out to you today, wherever you are in the world. I am thrilled to be joining all of you, to be bringing this group, this collection of amazing authors. We have a powerful range of experts that are leaning in, and we get to have conversations. We get to hear from them behind the scenes, a little bit of the author's journey and what it's like to be #1 international best-selling authors, to stand in that space, to bring their books forward and really share those messages of the heart. I know there is something here for you today by the very nature of you tuning in and joining us. And I want you to be able to receive everything that is here for us today. It's a rich lineup of dynamic women that are coming together to pour into you. So as we come together, I invite you to pause. We're so busy rushing around all the time. So let's take a moment and pause and breathe. And take a moment to actually connect in with ourselves. Let's take a moment and just be. Breathe in through your nose, all the way to your toes, out through your mouth, like through a straw. Picturing all that beautiful oxygen. There's enough for everybody, I promise. All that beautiful oxygen coming in and supporting you and pouring into you. And then breathe out all that no longer serves. And part of, as we breathe and we connect and we become present, and part of us really receiving is being open. It's being present, not multitasking, but really giving yourself the gift of this time. This is an opportunity for you to be poured into, to receive. How lovely that is. We're so good at giving and pouring out to so many. Let us pour into you. And I encourage you to be open to receive. Perhaps even have a piece of paper or a notepad nearby so you can write down information, ahas, moments that touch your heart and spirit, connections you want to follow up on, thoughts that bubble up within you in response to what is being shared. Be open, because I know there's something here for you. In fact, let's dial this up. Let's take advantage of this opportunity of connection. Let's take our hands, put both hands on our heart, continuing to breathe, and notice the beat of your heart. Close your eyes if that helps remove distractions. This is your moment. This is your time. And as you're noticing the beat of your heart, notice that pause in between the beats. What is it whispering to you? What is it sharing with you? What is it you need today to encourage and empower you on your journey? What is it reminding you of? Beautiful. Let's take a moment. Breathe all of that beautiful information and insight in. And then open your eyes, fully present, and take a moment to write that down. Write down what was touched, what touched your heart, what was placed on your heart. Let's keep that top of mind as we go through our time together today. Let's get it out of swirling inside of you and write it down. Be able to interact with it as we go through our time together today. I'm so glad each of you are here. I'm excited to introduce our amazing lineup of authors. I know you're going to love this group of dynamic women that are leaning into you. So it is my privilege and honor to introduce our first amazing expert. And I just want to share a little bit, and this is just a highlight, a little bit about her. So Rachel Wilkins is a #1 international best-selling author and compiler. She recently led this dynamic project where multiple authors came together, and she helped bring that book, that anthology, forward and had it become a #1 international best-selling book very, very quickly, called Lead, Lift, and Leave a Legacy. She's the CEO of Team of 7 Consulting, and she's the founder of Lead Them and Leadership Missions. She's an adjunct professor and senior advisor for NSF Social Economic Initiative and programs. And she is absolutely passionate about helping you lean in and lead and leave a powerful legacy. Please lean in. Warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Rachel Wilkins. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Rebecca.
I'm excited to have you joining us today, and it has been such an honor to be on the journey with you and to see all of the amazing individuals. There was such a diverse group of individuals in this book that you were able to bring together and really share out into the world. And so I'd love for you to share, one, why is the work of leadership and leaving a legacy and leading, mentoring, why are those things personally so important to you?
Yes, and I believe, thanks, first of all, Rebecca, for having me on the show with all these amazing women and having the opportunity to share in a personal space. It's written what my why was for creating this mission and why I'm passionate. And it's been something probably that's been vested in me for many years. Even when I was a child, the legacy within my own family, people giving into others has always been a part of my upbringing. But I remember being in my 20s and reading the 7 effects of highly effective people and thinking uh, the idea of writing your eulogy, what does that mean? And then we had multiple family members pass. And I thought, well, what is my legacy when it comes my time? I'm thinking this in my 20s. When it comes my time, what are people going to say? What is my personal legacy? What am I going to do to make our world a better place? How will I lead others? Will I lift others? And then in doing those 2 things, you start to begin to leave a legacy.
Hmm. And that's so interesting to me that you had this placed on your heart at such an early age, and really starting to look at what is my imprint, what is it, what is my legacy, what am I leaving behind, and then an opportunity to start to live your life in that way. And to me, from what you shared with me and I've seen, it's been very consistent in being on that path and really being mindful of the impression, the touch, the impact that we have on others. So I celebrate that in you, and I appreciate you joining us today to share some of this.
Oh, thank you. I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I know one of the things that was placed on your heart was to lead this project, bringing multiple experts together, wide range of ages, wide range of backgrounds, to really come together and unite their voices around this, around leading, around lifting each other up, around creating a legacy that matters. So I'd love for you to share why. How did that start? Why was that something that became important? And what was it like to bring this forward, to share this vision with so many?
Yes. I've always thought of myself as being a powerful leader, but not by myself. So the company that I lifted is a team of 7 consulting. So when I go in and I consult, I bring that team together. It's not just my advice, it's our advice that we arrive at making a decision. I call my family Team Wilkins because together everyone accomplishes more. So I'm a team player, so to speak. Um, so throughout my life, I've always brought in the gifts of others to enhance projects that I've been on, to enhance experiences. Recently, that's been rejuvenated as the adjunct professor. When I stepped into that role, I was working with current students in college and recent alums. And it was post COVID, but there was still a lot of questioning, career questions about what do I do next? What's ahead of me? Where do I go? Needing to see mentorship happen on multiple levels. And I gave my story, but I'm a military spouse of 20 years. I have a nonlinear path, a very interesting background and future. However, there are so many women with so many diverse, uh, you know, decisions, jobs, career moves, pivots, that I felt more voices needed to be heard in my classroom setting. So I had spotlight mentors, and I would have someone speak on their career move, and then all of a sudden, naturally, organically, the relationship started to form in a mentoring capacity. And that's when I started to see things really evolve. Our community, I think, is more about not just someone telling you how to do everything in your life, but providing opportunities for you to see people you have similarities with, and then build your own brand, build your own career path, and learn along the way. So, my goal was to bring in as many women as possible, reflecting different career paths. We have doctors, women in geospatial, we have women in healthcare. We have a variety of women writing. I did not have any woman write from the same career path, so that this could be a really great tool for our younger generation to sit down and look and say, I don't know what I want to do next. Let me look at these women and their career paths and let me see what they have done, and maybe I can be inspired. So the book is inspirational for many levels. We have women in their 20s writing. I had my leadership fellows write. So women in their 20s all the way to their 80s, giving a nice line of history and career moves.
Beautiful. I love it. And so you brought this group together, all these different paths that they've been on, all these different voices. And I'm just going to read a few stats of how this was received just during the initial launch. So, again, this is just the beginning, just the start. It became a #1 international best-selling book. So excited, I'm moving around so much. So #1
I know it's
international.
exciting. It's hard not
It is number
to.
one international best-selling book. It reached best-selling status in 6 countries, 93 categories, with 26 of them being #1. And I know you had a person leading in different countries. We had Italy, Spain, and it was a very dynamic, fun launch. And as it's rippled out there, I'm so curious to see one, what it felt like to lead something like that. And two, what has some of the response been?
Yes. To lead that was awesome. I feel like the co-authors in the book already were in alignment with doing the best launch that we could do. I had a lot of marketers, people in marketing and social media and such that were interested in getting the information and the word out. Now, the international piece for me, I have an international background. I studied in France and I lived in Italy for 2 years with my husband in Vicenza as he was still in the army. So all the communities that we've lived in as a military spouse, probably over 10 to 15 different communities globally. And then I also studied in China. So I have a love for learning other cultures, meeting other women, meeting other people, and just understanding how unique our world is and respecting other cultures. So this isn't something that just happened. This is years of my commitment to getting to know other people. I would say everything just came together for this common goal of reaching other women to share stories. And based on the relationships I had with people in different countries, they jumped on it and sent the information out, and we had people were very interested in purchasing the book. You never know on any given day how that's going to turn out. So I was just working really hard to make sure that I connected with my friends, my family members, their family members, and just made sure everyone had the tools for purchasing right at their fingertips. I was there for questions. I felt like it was a 24-hour role because I was up at 4 a.m. talking to my daughter who was in Spain, and she was studying abroad in Spain. And so I went to go see her 2 weeks prior to the launch just to visit with her, but that also rekindled relationships that I had had. And a friend there also helped support the book. So it's just when you're excited and enthusiastic about something that's full of gratitude, hope, and joy, other people want to share it. And I think that's just what leaving me so tingly and excited inside because we hit parameters I wasn't even expecting and went into countries I was hoping for, but really landed with a huge impact. And the ripple effect was I still want you to pinch me, Rebecca, because you just gave me these stats yesterday. And
You
so
just got them.
I just found this all out in the last 24 hours. And I literally, as I hit send before I hopped on this call, sent that information out to my authors. So we're still in the midst of this really happened. This is so exciting. This post-launch week has been extremely busy with more people asking questions. And so the 2 weeks have been unpredictably busy, but unpredictably excitable and just very helpful. And you have been an amazing source in all of this. You were wonderful last week. You were a guiding light. So I do appreciate your synergy and effective impact on me as I was coming up for air at times and reaching out and, being a friend, being a salesperson, being excited. So I appreciate the teamwork we had together there too, and all the authors.
Oh, my honor. It's a joy. It's one of my favorite moments to say I'm getting emotional. It's one of my favorite moments to um, share, when the ribbon levels happen and when those different milestones happen. And it's just a joy. So, honor and a privilege. And I'm thinking back, there were so many amazing moments that happened on your launch. And is there one that's just kind of standing out to you that you want to share from your author heart and leadership heart to
Mhm.
our viewers today? That here's a moment that I just hold on to and was really, really special in bringing my book forward.
Wow, to single that down to one moment is tough, but one of the moments was seeing something come to fruition that I've sort of been preaching about a little bit because one of my philosophies is to change the world one touch at a time, one real authentic relationship at a time. And my kids call me a doer and a pusher. It's just, I guess, who I am, but I like to push good news, great information, and help people learn about that next space. And so when my daughter was in Spain, I, dubbed her as our Spanish contact, our recruiter, our marketer, our international brand person. And she was doing the work. She was doing work. And she was heading off to a birthday party. And I said, "Oh, great, perfect timing. You should go ahead and share the link with your friends." And you can imagine a 20-year-old thinking, "Mom, I just want a break." But she did. She sat down with her friends at a dinner table for a birthday party, and she shared information. And one of the gals at the time said, "Oh, I don't have a Spanish account, but I have an Australia account."
Mm,
And she bought it right at that moment. Australia wasn't even on the radar for me personally to think about a country that we could land and expand in. But we did because of one little touch, one little conversation. And so I told my daughter, "You don't really understand the impact that you have when you're enthusiastic, when you're for people, and when you're, sharing great information. It really can change lives and in ways you don't even expect." So now we're in another country, and excited to see the impact of that as well. But that was one aha moment where I thought, it's just one simple. There were many, many, many. I had tears as well, multiple times,
Mhm.
chatting with my Italian friends I hadn't spoken to in a long time, chatting with my friend from high school, Tara, who was in Spain helping us with recruiting. So many moments, so many
mhm.
moments.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you joining us. I know it's so busy leading up to launch and right after, and you carving out time to be with us today. I just really, really appreciate. And I'm thinking as this book goes out there, is there something that you are really, really hoping happens as a result? If we could support that intention, what is that ripple? What is it when people get this book in their hand? What is the change or the mission, or what are you hoping to see happen? The ripple you're creating.
That relationships matter, authentic relationships matter. And we have put such a heavy price on what mentoring is that sometimes I think we're afraid to mentor or even call ourselves a mentor. And every day we reach out, either in a small touch or a large touch, to support somebody else. That is making a change in our world for the better. So to believe in yourself, that you have your gifts, whether you're the mentee or the mentor looking for that relationship, and understand that your story, your journey can resonate with someone, and just believe in yourself. Have courage to pay it forward. And that's how we're going to be able to do this. As a former military spouse, I hung on some of the words of the great women ahead of me. I had never experienced being an Army spouse before. My husband was deployed multiple times. And if it weren't for the amazing leadership of the women ahead of me, reaching down with their hands and helping, then I turned around and did the same thing. We can use that system of guidance and support everywhere as women. And not just women to women. I have sons too. So I'm for men, I'm for women, I'm for everyone. But we all need to recognize the power within us and really start to activate that power. And then we can lift each other up. And I know depression across the universe, across the United States and the globe is at its highest it's ever been. So I believe that if we have quality relationships with others, shining light on ourselves and on them, we provide hope. And that hope can lead to happiness and gratitude and joy, which are all the opposites of depression. So I suppose that's my biggest takeaway is believe in yourself, believe in the power that you have, your gifts to help others, and just do it every day in little bits or big bits, whatever you can do, but just continue to serve others.
Beautiful. I'm drinking in what you just shared and lifting that up, holding it for all of us, and that reminder that we can and we are, and we have so much that we can bring forward. And as our viewers just drink in what you shared and sit with it for a moment, what is the first step? If we're like, yes, I believe that. I want that. I want to be a part of that. I have your book. I'm going to get your book. But what is a step I can take today to start living that way more?
Mhm. Yes. For now, and there's a whole mission I'm hoping to launch here in the future. I don't have everything done. The book was the first objective, right? Hit all the goals with the book. Oh, we did that. Okay, now I need to move forward with the next step. But right now, if you were interested in any of the author's stories, there's a QR code where you can reach out to them and you can connect with them and either mentor with them, get to know them a little bit better, or reach out to me if you're interested in furthering on this mission. For the most part, it's just when you see someone could use some advice or some support, just don't back down. I know there's a little bit more than saying that because we have to be using careful words and making people feel like they want our advice, right? So um, it's not easy, but really it is easy. I mean, it could be as simple as buying a coffee for somebody who's behind you and then just saying, I hope you have a great day. I mean, that's a sort of mentorship, role modeling that helps encourage positive behavior. But if you see someone in your workplace or workspace that is maybe younger or maybe could use some support, take them to lunch, some help, some guidance, don't refrain from doing that. Take some time because when we serve others, we're also serving ourselves. We are a communal, humans are communal. We need people to be around to help, and that will help you feel like you're leaving your mark on the world as well as you reach out and engage. So reach out to the authors in the book and then reach out to the people in your community and then wait to see what I'm going to do next.
I know, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I love it. I love it.
A work in progress.
But well, and we all are. We are all on a journey, and we get to continue to evolve and grow and bring our gifts forward. So we all get to make those choices. And I love this listening to the heart. We started with the heart and really connecting in. So I love that when we feel that pull, that prompt, instead of getting over analyzing and thinking and getting all logical, really stop and honor that pull in the heart, that noticing of someone or feeling that quickening of your spirit. I want to go do this. I want to go help in this way. Take that action, take those steps. And I love the opportunities people have to reach out to you and to reach out to all of your beautiful co-authors. You made that really easy in the book. So that's brilliant. So I'd love for you to share, what is the best way for people to connect with you, to go further, to follow you, to get the book if they haven't gotten it already? Tell us all of those things.
Okay, yes. So to reach out to me, I'm very active on my LinkedIn. That's like my main, I've been a recruiter on LinkedIn. It really serves what I need to get done. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can purchase the book on Amazon right now. Just head over to Amazon, type in Lead Lift, Leave a Legacy, and there's an opportunity to purchase the book either in a Kindle version, paperback, and soon there'll be the hardback, which is like a nice gift to give. Um, and yeah, I will reach out to you. I will get back to you from the LinkedIn space. And then once you get the book, there's a link tree, but that'll take you a few minutes. So if you want to talk to me this afternoon, send me a note now. I'm pretty good about getting back to people quickly. And I've worked before on Veterati, which is a mentoring on Monday program where I was working with transitioning veterans and military spouses across the globe. So I had times set up where I would meet and help mentor. So if anyone's interested in personal mentorship, I can set up a time with you and we can have a chat.
I love it. And Monday is just around the corner if we're going to keep that trend going. So that's beautiful. I love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing. Very excited for all your success. And I know it's just been a couple weeks. It's just now rippling out into the world. So thank you again for your insights and your shares. And I just want to give a moment for our viewers to just drink in what's been shared and see if I have to get my device that they're sending me messages on, see if there are any sort of questions that are coming through. So give me just a moment. It looks like there are. So let me open this up. Okay, so here's the question. They're not waiting till Monday and they're not waiting till this afternoon. So, how can I become a part of this powerful community? It sounds extremely supportive. So, what's
Oh,
the next step? How can I join? How can I be part of this?
sure, absolutely. Really just reach out to and again, this is we are just building a ship as it's sailing. But reach out to me. Can I ask? We have women in different states and different countries, so it doesn't really matter where you are. So first order of business would be have a one-on-one with me. We'll have a conversation, and then I know there are people that want me to create another anthology, so we'll see. Maybe that's an anthology being a chapter writer. Maybe that's learning about mentoring. Maybe that's learning about the social cognitive career theory and how that helps you advance in your career moves or pivots. If you're an at-home mom, how do you pivot back and forth? Lots of things to cover. I'm excited to see who this person is and get to know them. But please just reach out to me on my LinkedIn. It's universal. And then we'll get started there.
Perfect. That sounds like step number one. Reach out today and you'll help with a conversation, kind of navigate, help them take those next steps. And you also heard it here, everybody, that there might be another anthology in the works. So I'm sure if enough people asked, there could be opportunities. So I'm just going to plant that seed as well, because we have opportunities to come together, to unite, and to share our voices. That makes such a positive difference. And to create powerful collections like this, where so much wisdom comes together, I think creates an amazing impact. So I'm excited. I encourage the connections. Rachel, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And look forward to all that is coming and in the works.
Well, I probably need my own coach because this is the first time that I've been an anthologist. So, um, we're all learning every step of the way. So I just thank you so much and hope everyone goes in grace and gratitude with themselves and everyone. And thank you so much, Rebecca, for having me.
My honor. Thank you for joining us. So, listeners and viewers, because sometimes we listen and other times we're watching, just everybody connects in a different way. Um, Take a moment and really think about what Rachel has shared and what's a step you can take today. What's a step you can take to start living in such a way, an action that you are bringing forward the things that matter most. That's part of creating a legacy that matters to you. So, what is a step you can take to echo out those things that matter most to you? Maybe it's that buying a coffee for somebody in the line and sharing a positive smile or note or encouragement with somebody. Maybe when you are in a line unexpectedly, because that happens sometimes, the line is taking longer and you're on hold longer, any of those kinds of things. What can you choose to do with that time? How can you choose to be? And then when you get to the front of the line, when you finally connect with that person you've been waiting to connect with, what are you echoing out? How are you choosing to show up? What is the message you're bringing forward? We have these opportunities and interactions every single day that we can look with that perspective of leaving a legacy. Look at how we want to be. Look at how we want to really make a difference. How are we showing up? What is the impact? When somebody looks back on our life, I love this how you had that perspective so early on, Rachel. Are they going to be able to tell what mattered to us? Are they going to be able to tell the legacy is in alignment with what we're hoping to create in the world? Every single day, moment by moment, we get to make those choices. And Rachel, I celebrate what you've created and the ripple you're bringing out. And I hope today, as we come together, all of us are showing up in a way to bring forward those things that matter most. So thank you again, Rachel. I so appreciate it. And I'm excited to bring forward our next amazing guest. Now, something that is exciting about this summit for me is we have a lot of textures. So we have some presentations, we have some interviews, and we have these moments to come together. We have viewers and listeners that are sending comments and messages that we're able to bring live into our conversation today. You're going to see the diversity of perspectives that we have, from an anthology to a trilogy that is coming forward, to people sharing their life's journey. We just have such a rich mixture. So I hope you continue to have that notepad ready as I bring aboard our next amazing guest. So I'm excited to introduce Michelle to you. So Michelle is just a dynamic, inspirational speaker, having such an amazing impact in the world. In 1998, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and traditional psychiatric treatments over a decade only made the condition worse. And it wasn't until she discovered the integrated research-based treatment model that she began her journey to being able to completely recover. Now, she is reaching out to others to help them do the same. She's an in-demand public speaker, #1 international best-selling author and mentor, and she's passionate about helping others towards their own healing and recovery. I'm so excited to share Michelle with you. I know you're going to love her. And I just want to give a quick snapshot on the stats. So we're sharing everybody's stats on their books today. So her book became a #1 international best-selling book. The Upside of Bipolar reached 5 countries, 62 best-selling categories, 14 #1s. Very well received, and is continuing to just ripple out in powerful ways in the world. The presentation she's going to be sharing with us is The Upside of Bipolar, Discovering the Path to Healing and Recovering. Please welcome the amazing Michelle Reitinger to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. And first of all, thank you, Rachel, for your incredible presentation. I'm really excited about what you're doing, and I can't wait to hear about what Carrie and Sky are going to share today. And this is just an incredible space, and I'm very thankful to Rebecca and her company, because it helped bring my message out to the world in a way that really helped expand its reach in a way that I don't think I could have done on my own. And I'm very grateful, for Rebecca. And I want to start with where my journey began. And I tried to figure out where the best way was to, place to start with this. And I think it needs to start with the diagnosis. When I was diagnosed, I had very mixed feelings. I first was relieved because there was somebody giving me an explanation for why I had been struggling so much with such erratic mood swings for, the previous 2 years. I was almost graduating from college. I was a month away from graduating from college when I received my diagnosis. And I remember walking out of the psychiatrist office of two minds, having two minds. I was relieved because there was an explanation, and I was hopeful because the doctor assured me that even though I had a chemical imbalance, that's what he described my disorder as, is a chemical imbalance, that medication would help and I would be able to live, a healthy, normal life with the medication. And so I had a lot of hope, but I also felt a lot of apprehension because what little I knew about mental illness didn't make me feel comfortable with the diagnosis. It made me feel broken. And it made me worry that nobody would want me that way. And so I moved forward trusting the psychiatrist and the further psychiatrist that I had later on, and took every medication I was prescribed over the next decade. And during that time, I got married and I started having children, and I got progressively worse. The treatments were not making things better. In fact, they seemed to exacerbate the situation. My mood swings continued to progress and get more erratic. I was having terrible side effects from the medications, and I started to feel very hopeless because what I had been told by my doctor and all the subsequent psychiatrists that I saw as I moved and was hospitalized, I was told that bipolar was a chronic illness that I would have for the rest of my life, that it was a chemical imbalance that required medication to treat, just like, somebody who is a diabetic that needs insulin. And and the fact that the medications were not really helping me made me start to feel hopeless, because I thought, if I have this for the rest of my life and things aren't getting better, what hope is there for me? And my mind began to tell me lies, like your husband would be better off if he could have a different wife, and your children would be better off if they had a different mother. And this all culminated in a massive breakdown that landed me in the hospital 10 years after my initial diagnosis. I was hospitalized in 3 different hospitals. They did electroconvulsive therapy on me. I made multiple attempts on my life, and it really was a very hopeless situation. And then about a year after that breakdown, I was hospitalized one more time. And when I got out of the hospital, I was watching my children play one day, and I had this thought: nobody is coming to rescue me. I have to do something to help myself. And that was the very beginning of me starting to figure out how to take care of myself. And that started a 10-year journey of identifying tools and resources that could help me to, what I thought, manage. I thought I was just managing my mental illness better, because I still believed what the doctors had told me, that it was chronic and incurable and that I would have it for the rest of my life. But I felt like I was getting better at managing it. The very first tool that I came up with was something I created for myself. I call it the Mood Cycle Survival Guide. And it was a resource that helped me to start taking more responsibility for my mood swings. I thought, if I know they're coming, I don't want to feel like I'm getting yanked onto a roller coaster every time I experience mania or depression. So I need to figure out how to identify that it's coming. I need to come up with a system. And I identified, I need help from people. So who are my team? Who are the team that I can ask? What's my early warning system? How do I identify when those symptoms are coming on, and how to manage them? What are my baseline priorities? What are the things that need to happen when I'm struggling emotionally and mentally? And what things can I let go of so that I can take care of myself and the things that matter most in my life? And then how do I get myself back to a healthy, balanced mental state? How can I be proactive in my life in managing these symptoms? And gradually, I just started discovering things that actually started helping resolve symptoms. And after about a decade, we had a major crisis in our family. We lost a child. And during that experience, I didn't end up hospitalized. I didn't have a breakdown. I experienced healthy grief. I experienced what is a normal reaction to a tragic situation, but I didn't end up dysfunctional. I didn't end up having a breakdown or not able to take care of myself and my family. And I started to wonder, wait a minute, I should be in the hospital. Like, this type of situation should have landed me in the hospital. Why am I not getting to that point? And so I started doing more research on the tools that I was using, and started to discover that I had been lied to, for lack of a better word, that it wasn't true that bipolar was incurable. It was the treatment itself that was preventing the cure. I had gotten off of medications long before this. I was on micronutrients that were helping my brain to get what they needed to function in a healthy way. And all of the tools and resources that I had learned had actually helped resolve the underlying sources of the symptoms. And at first, I was very angry. I felt like almost violently angry. I felt betrayed. I felt robbed of years of my life. But then I thought, this doesn't do any good to be angry about this. What am I going to do about it now? And I thought, well, I want to tell people what I learned. I want to share what I wish somebody had shared with me so that I can help other people recover as well. People don't need to live with this for the rest of their lives. So I started doing more research. I did research on the tools that I had used, and started discovering all of the studies that had been done on each tool that showed their efficacy. And then I had my red pill moment. Up to this point, I still believed maybe there was a place for medication. Maybe, this was something that some people needed, and I just was able to find a way to do without it. But I read a book by Robert Whitaker called Anatomy of an Epidemic. And in this book, he used to actually write articles for people that for drug companies when they would come out with new medications. And when he was writing these articles, he started questioning what he was doing, because he thought, well, wait a minute, if we have discovered these, breakthroughs in mental health care, and these drugs are so miraculous, why are so many people becoming permanently disabled by these mental illnesses? Why are the number of people disabled by depression and bipolar disorder and schizophrenia increasing dramatically? Not a little bit, but exponentially increasing. And it just didn't make sense to him. And so this book, he thoroughly, dove thoroughly into deep dive into all the research on the medications and on the history of psychiatry, and all of it brought together in this book helped me to recognize that the system itself was fundamentally flawed and that it is possible for people to heal. If we can identify what the sources of their symptoms are, they can actually heal. So I started a blog, I started a podcast to share everything that I had learned. But the problem I was having is that no matter how much information I put out there in the blog and the podcast, people still wanted more. And I didn't know how to share with them everything that I'd learned over a 10-year period. And so I wrote my book. And it was a terrifying experience starting this process because, first of all, I had this idea that either you're an author or you're not, and I was not an author in my mind. And so I didn't know how to approach this, but I was blessed to find some incredible mentors. I found an incredible mentor that helped me, coached me through the writing process, taught me how to write a book. I found, incredible, copy editor. I found Rebecca, and I was able to put together a book that I'm extremely proud of and has helped so many people already. And then I came up with a coaching program based on the resources that I outlined in the book. And I have been blessed to help other people through the healing process. And that has been one of the greatest joys of my life. I love helping other people heal. I love helping guide other people through the process of finding hope again in their lives. One of the things that we struggle with so much in our society, with all the mental illness we have, just so much mental illness in our society, and there's a tremendous amount of hopelessness because we have been led to believe that these mental illnesses are going to be lifelong and that we have to be on drugs for the rest of our lives. And that is simply not true. There is hope, there is healing. And I'm so excited to share this book with the world because I'm one voice of many that are starting to share the message of hope that you can actually recover from mental illness, from bipolar, from depression, from anxiety, and have a healthy, happy, balanced life.
I love it. I'm just sitting here smiling and nodding and celebrating as you share that we can have that. And I am so excited and moved that your book has already helped so many people, and that you've put together this program to walk beside them and help them and really give them that hope and the support and the steps to get there. So I just honor and I celebrate that. Congratulations. And thank you for sharing your journey, because I think it's so important that people understand kind of the depths of what you went through and some of your journey and losing hope at times and struggling, and then to have some of the incredible loss that you had and to be able to navigate through that is such a testimony to all that you have come through and the healing that you have brought into your life. So I'm just thrilled and excited. And I do have a comment from our audience here. Just reading through. So thank God for you. Sending you a big hug. Hope is a powerful beacon for those navigating the often challenging waters of mental health struggles. Hope is not just a feeling, it's a lifeline that connects us all. Please share where I can find your podcast.
Absolutely. It is The Upside of Bipolar. And that's the name of my book. That's the name of my podcast. That's the name of my website, is The Upside of Bipolar. And I love to connect with people. I have people message me all the time, and I love talking to people. So please reach out.
I love it. And I love the consistent branding as well. It makes it very easy from a navigation perspective. And are there either a final tip that you want to share, projects that are coming up, things that you would love our viewing audience to know?
Yeah, I would love to actually share that Mood Cycle Survival Guide. It's a free resource that I offer on my website to anyone who can use it. And it's interesting. as I was going through trying to, I developed this resource for myself, and it wasn't like a simple, straightforward thing to teach people. It was just some tools and kind of coping skills that I had developed for myself. But as I started developing this to share more broadly with people, my sister-in-law, who's one of my best friends, I would talk to her about the things and she's like, "Oh, that could really be helpful for me. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that." And I realized that it's a resource that's beneficial to anybody who ever has any kind of mental health challenges, anxiety, depression. And it's a free resource. It's there's videos and an ebook that I offer on my website. So I would love to share that with the audience because I think one of the best things that you can do for yourself is stop allowing yourself to be victimized by mental health challenges. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I felt very victimized by my mental health challenges. I didn't feel like I had any ability to impact them or affect them or take responsibility for myself, and it's simply not true. And it helps us to feel so much better about ourselves and our lives when we start to take responsibility, when we become more proactive about acknowledging when we might struggle with mental health challenges and taking responsibility for doing something about it. So I would encourage anybody who might be struggling to take advantage of this resource. It really is very powerful.
And can you give us the link one more time for those of us leaning in?
Yep. So if you go to, I can actually share, I have a direct link to this. I don't know if, Rebecca, do I share this in the chat or
We
what's the best
can
way?
share it in the replay. I don't know that the chat will show up for everybody.
Okay. Yeah. So if you actually go on my website, if you go to the upsideofbipolar.com, across the top, it says free, and you just click on free, and there's a link to grab your copy of that
Beautiful.
resource. Yeah.
I love that free. We always like a gift in
Yeah.
the deal. Free is awesome.
Yeah.
And this is an amazing gift. I know when I read your book and I learned about this, I thought, wow, we could all use help understanding our moods a little bit, building a team, really taking ownership and control of them. So it's a very, very powerful tool that I encourage everyone to lean in. Thank you for sharing today and making this available. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on all that you are doing, have created, and are bringing forward.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, listeners, viewers, take a moment and really breathe in what Michelle has shared. And part of why I have us breathe in and pause is the more we can stop and not just add it to a to-do list, but actually start to integrate things on a cellular level, the easier it is to own those things, to take those steps, and to move forward. If we keep putting it on the to-do someday list, it doesn't always get into play. So I invite you, as we take these pauses, breathe in, that you give yourself an opportunity to really drink in deeply what is being shared and what moves you. Writing some of it down helps you co-create it. What is that next step? Am I going to sign up for that gift? So you could do it in this pause, in this moment. So what are some steps, action items that you can take? What are things that you can process on a cellular level? One of the things one of my grandmothers, I had multiple grandmothers, one of my grandmothers taught me was the power of the pause, and to really allow myself to catch up with myself. I was really, really, really good at moving fast, doing the next thing. I loved creating lists and then checking things off, and I'd move on to the next thing. And those amazing highlights, moments that were just incredible celebrations, I would call my grandmother up and share this amazing thing that happened. And she would always calm me down in a moment. And I didn't always want to be calm in that moment. Like, it was exciting. It was celebrating. She's supposed to celebrate with me. But she would say, Rebecca, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. Let's take a moment and let your body catch up with yourself. Even the great things can put stress and strain on our body. Let's remember to pause and drink that in. And I would pause for a moment and say, okay, yeah. Thanks, Grandma. Bye. Then I would call her in the moments where I had something devastating happen and I just was trying to come to terms and processing and breathing in those moments. And she would give me the same advice. She'd remind me to pause. And then she'd add, as I was pausing and breathing and letting myself process things, because remember, our bodies are part of us, cellular level processing things, she'd remind me to be extra kind to myself, just like I would to my best friend. We can be so driven and push ourselves so hard. We forget to drink in those moments. We forget to pause. And I was a little better at pausing during those lows in my life and listening. And she always would, so it's funny, it's coming back to me. She would always end every conversation with this same phrase. She would say, Rebecca, I need you to promise me something. My health is very fragile. I could go at any time. And that was true, but just a little bit of manipulation on my grandmother's part. And she'd go, so I need you to promise me something. Yes, Grandma, I love you, I promise. She goes, I want you to be extra kind to my granddaughter. And that was me. Every phone call, she would always end it that way. And one day it was our last conversation. She ended it the same way. And I made that promise to be extra kind. And that is what finally empowered me to get better at pausing, allowing myself to catch up with myself, loving myself enough to bring forward those things that matter most. And today, in our shares so far, we have been encouraged to be mindful of the impact that we're making. What is that legacy we want to bring forward? How can we love ourselves in that and leave that lasting legacy to others? And it starts now. It's not someday. It starts now. What are tools and resources that can come alongside us? We don't have to do this on our own. That's a myth. I don't know where it got started. It's not true. We can be in community with each other and support one another. And Michelle has been vulnerable in sharing some of her journey with us so far. And what going through all of that has led to in this amazing gift that she's bringing forward to help us on a cellular level, on an emotional level, understand our moods and really hold those in a more powerful and empowering space. We don't have to be hijacked. We can choose how we're going to navigate and have a plan, because we will have swings of emotions. How supportive that can be to each of us. So I encourage you, as we're sharing, these are real people, real authors, real journeys coming alongside you, reaching out that hand of support. So I want you to hear that support. I want you to drink it in. And I am just thrilled and excited to bring our next amazing guest on. I know you're going to love her. And she just this week released her powerful book, and it became a #1 international best-selling book. And she has carved out time right in the middle of all of that, coming forward, being shared with the world, being received so powerfully to share with us today. So I'm very excited to introduce Carrie to you. Carrie KC West is a #1 international best-selling author of Life Rewritten. She's a sought-after speaker and life story coach who has her entertainment industry experience uses that to support clients with their life and business stories and step into their success, because we should pay attention to the stories we tell ourselves and others. She is passionate about you stepping into your powerful success. Please lean in. Warmly welcome the dynamic and powerful Carrie KC West. Welcome.
Woo, woohoo.
That's right. Coming to the stage. I love it. Welcome, welcome. I'm just excited to have you here. And I want to share some stats because I know those are still all being finalized. So breaking news, I'm excited to share that your #1 international best-selling book reached 4 countries, best-selling status in 4 countries, 57 best-selling categories, 12 #1s.
Woohoo.
Woohoo! Congratulations, Carrie. We are so excited. And I just welcome you. And I'd love for you to share, why is this work, this concept about our stories, why is that personally so important to you?
Well, stories saved my life. I've said this 1,000 times. They've saved my life. I grew up in a pretty bad situation, and it was the stories I told myself that were self-comforting. You know, when you're a kid, and I apologize, my computer is not doing well, so if I'm freezing, I hope you can still hear me.
I
Um,
can. Your voice is coming through very clearly.
Good, okay.
Mhm.
The At night, to comfort myself, I would tell myself stories, you know, the traditional ones that a lot of kids use. You know, my real mom will come and find me. But every night I added a new chapter to it and what adventures we would go on after they found me. So
Mm.
it was incredible to come back to that as I journaled all my life, you know, the teenage angst journals, which I've kept, and I read them now after my mom died and I read them all. I was like, oh my God. But I keep them now for comic relief because how woe is me, my poor life. And you know, as a teenager, we all have a highly dramatic life. But the turning point came when I went to film school. And at that point, I had already hit rock bottom when my father died. And I realized that I was not in good shape. You know, before then I thought, oh, I'm getting by, I'm getting a paycheck, I'm paying my bills, I have a place. But I was miserable. I wasn't dating, I didn't have many friends. I I had a bunch of problems, but I didn't have any tight connections. And that started with me. I didn't have a tight connection with myself. So when I got to film school, I had already been in therapy and doing meditation workshops and personal growth. Excuse me. But then it became clear that my life was this story. It was an incredible, crappy story, but it was a story. And I could look at it and take charge of it. And much like what everybody is saying so far, especially Michelle. Michelle, I was listening to you and I thought, your diagnosis was your inciting incident. And every story has this inciting incident that sends you on this journey. And you took that opportunity and became the person you are today. So this whole journey with all the plots and all the challenges, you know, you turn those challenges into stepping stones. You went from being the victim to a victor. And to me, that is the victim to victor story is a great theme. And the characters in your stories, and one of the primary characters in your story was this diagnosis of a health crisis. So that became this big antagonist that you took on. And as I started working through it, I found that people were coming to me and asking me to help them sort out their stories. So it became a passion for me. And it wasn't until COVID happened that I realized, and one of my friends said to me, would you please focus on being this storyteller that you are and stop this other crap you're doing? And I realized that, oh, I needed to rewrite my story. I needed to really jump in and rewrite the whole damn thing, not just a piece of it here and there. And so I did. And the book, Life Rewritten, was the excavation, this deep excavation of my life. And what I finally came to is that we all carry these messages of who we are or who we should be or what we should do. You know, you must listen to your doctor. They're the expert. You must listen to the society. You must listen to your mom. You must listen to this is how this happens. And then I finally said to somebody, why? Why must I? Yes, you're a doctor. I pay for your expertise in this, but let's advocate together. Let's partner in our journey. When I talk to somebody about trouble at work, it's like, can you figure out the messages you're getting that you're responding to? So when you can take this apart, when you can look at these things, it's amazing to me how quickly, and we're talking 5 sessions, 5 weeks. It doesn't have to be years and years of therapy, and therapy is great. I love therapy, but it doesn't have to go for years and years and years. You can really be happy today when you look at the messages you've been given and how you can take those apart.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing. I can feel your passion as you share, and your commitment to really helping people in this, and some of those pivotal moments, and how you've been a storyteller all your life, and that you're owning that and really helping people own their stories. And I love that. Why must I? Why should I? How can we bring the advocate this together? How can we bring this forward together? And as you have approached life in that way, and you've helped clients, and it sounds like they're able to transition very quickly, shift very quickly, do you have a favorite moment or share that you can give us of how either yourself or someone else has been able to make this powerful pivot, this powerful shift?
Well, I've got so many of them, but I'll tell you a fun one. I rarely dated. I mean, I was so broken and distrustful of people that dating just, what to me was an extended job interview, and I hated it. Have to show up and always be your best self. And I never wanted to show all my flaws, even though they were probably shining through. Anyway, I became friends with this guy I worked with, and he lived in England, and I finally did my dream of moving to England and work and just hanging out there for a summer. And when I told him I was going, he said, "Oh, I'll call you when I'm over there because I will be over visiting my family." And to me, England is a small country, so I didn't care if he was 10 hours away from where I was staying, I would get there. So I moved to England, and he called, the day before he called, I was doing this great hike through this beautiful countryside in Dartmouth. I don't know the Dartmoor. I don't know if any of you know the Dartmoor. It's on the moor, it's in West Country, it's gorgeous. And it was rainy, and your typical English day, and I'm walking around, and I'm saying out loud, because I had just met this guy at a pub, and I thought, oh, he's cute, and maybe something would happen there. And then as he was leaving, he said, "Well, I've got to go see my wife." And it's like, ugh. And so the next day I was walking through the moor, and I started screaming out loud, "I'm done. I'm done. I give up. I'm okay being single. I'm 55 years old, and I'm okay being single. I don't care I don't care how old, if there is somebody for me though, I don't care how old they are or how young they are. It's up to you from now on. I am not looking anymore. I'm tired of this dance." And I went home to my cottage I was renting. It was cool. And then had a note from Simon that he was in the country and you want to get together. Well, it turns out the closest town where I was staying was where Simon was from. And so I met him for coffee, and he told me that the first store my friend took me to when I got there was called the Arcturus bookstore. Well, it turned out that was his house growing up. And all these other little synchronicities happened. And then we hung out, we went to dinner, and he took me back to my cottage. And as he was getting ready to leave, he said, "I think I'm in love with you." And I was like, this was just the day before. Well, we have been together ever since. And when I let go of all the why nots, I'm too old. When my yelling out to the universe in that walk was me giving up this story that I was too old, I would never find the right guy, or it had to be a certain guy, or it had to happen a certain way. Because I don't know about any of you, but as a young adult female, you're told to make detailed lists of what you want in a guy, and that'll bring him to you. Well, I finally threw all that out. So that to me was shedding all the stories that I had around a relationship. And the idea that you had to date. When Simon said that to me, I said, "We've never gone on a date. How can you be in love with me?" And he said, "Let's go out to dinner tomorrow. I know a great pub in Leslie," which has now become our go-to place every year. But I threw out all those stories, and this was my journey. This was my relationship story. And that's the other important thing. You have to find your story. Don't try to copy anyone else's. Do your path. So long way around, but I am a storyteller, so you're going to get more than just a yes or no answer.
I love your stories, Gary. This is great. No, thank you. And I love that where you took ownership, like this is your story. It's not anyone else's, and that you get to write it your way. And I was thinking about your book and that it just went out this week, and it's just been such an amazing journey to be on that with you. And one of the things that is so powerful is your cover, and I know there's a story that goes with the cover. So speaking of stories, I thought that might be nice to share, so you could describe your cover for those of our viewing audience that are not familiar with it, and why it is the way it is.
My cover is all black in a gold quill pen, a quill, feather quill. I don't know if you can imagine that. I did have an image of it up on my screen, but my computer is not doing well with that stuff, so I had to take it down. But it's a gold quill feather, and the importance of it is a quill pen to me speaks about how old stories are in our world. Stories have been a part of us from the day we walked on this planet. And so to me, that was an old way of bringing up. I could have put a pen. Somebody said, why don't you use a pen? And I thought, no, these stories that we carry with us are ancient. And also, I've got a ton more stories that I want to tell, so it'll be easy to transfer that quill pen to wherever we go. And Michelle, I want to talk to you about Health Rewritten. That's another book on my list, is Health Rewritten. And and Rebecca knows I want to do Love Rewritten. That one I'm already working on right now, but Business Rewritten. There's so many things I want to break the pattern of the messages. So I want to give everybody a new quill pen to rewrite their stories.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it, and I'm excited for all that you are looking to bring forward and really support and empower people with in so many different areas. How to really help them do that in all areas of their lives. And I love the ones that you've shared with me that you're targeting. And I don't know if you want to share, you've listed a couple. If you'd like to share some of those projects that you're working on, things they can be watching for and follow you around.
Well, Love Rewritten, somebody always said to me, oh, love is so hard. And it's like, well, love is easy. We love really well and we do it naturally. What's difficult are relationships. When you're in relationship with somebody, that's the tricky part. And you can love somebody but not like them. And that's the other thing. How can I not like you and yet I love you? Or how come I don't like this about you? But I'm also working on Age Rewritten. As some of you might guess, I'm not 30 anymore. And I I am fortunate in that I haven't faced direct backlash about trying to start a business at this point in my life, or another business at this point in my life. But we have to break the patterns that say, oh, now you're this age, that means X, Y, and Z. And it doesn't. Where's that rule book that says this is what I have to do now that I am this age? And it's like, well, I don't have one, but don't you know that that's what you're supposed to do? Nope. I don't like golfing. I really can't knit. I've tried. I can't do it. So I like being in business. I like doing these things. So let me do me. Let's do me. Don't try to do everybody else. Let's do me. And that's why I want to put out more books that help people do me, not anybody else.
I love it. I think that is an important point for us to write down on our notes. How can we be more me? How can we be more of who you truly are and not the shoulds, not what everyone else thinks you should be, but really who you are. Be more me. How can you do that? What's
Well,
one thing that you can start to do now? Do you have a tip or advice around that, Gary?
you just said it. Should be a four-letter word.
I
Honestly,
love it.
stop shooting on me. I am, I, I shouldn't do anything. Who said? It's like, you should do, why?
I love it. You're just breaking molds all over the place. It's beautiful.
I think we need to. I think we think that in order to belong or to be in community, we have to be like everybody else. And the most interesting communities I'm in are where we're all different and we're all unique and we all accept each other for who you are. I, you know, we've gotten so divisive. Why? You still, honestly, at the heart of it all, don't we all just want to feel safe in our homes and in our communities? Don't we want to feel productive and that we're providing for our families? And don't we want to acknowledge and feel the love of the people around us, even if we don't call it love? What if we can just feel accepted for who we are?
Beautiful. I'm letting everyone try that on and see.
Yeah, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you date. I don't care where you study your religion or church or your spirituality. At the heart of it all, we are all human beings and we're all in this together.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Carrie. I so appreciate all that you have shared with us, all of the thoughtful things to just stretch our thinking a bit and really own our lives and our stories. So powerful. Now, what is the best way for people to connect with you to go deeper?
Go to my website, carriekcwest.com. It's CarrieKCWest.com. And I apologize for my technical difficulties. I hope that came through okay.
You are coming through beautifully. So we are hearing your voice very, very clearly. And the picture will just eventually catch up. So it's all good. Thank you
Not
for
if my mouth isn't hanging open and I've made some crazy mark that it froze like that, but okay.
just one moment, but it was appropriate for the moment. We're all good. It was brilliant. So I love it, love it, love it. And I do have a question from one of our viewers. So, can you give me a good tip for starting on a path towards happiness?
Whew. The very first thing you have to do is understand why you think you aren't happy.
Mm.
What's the current story?
Mm.
What what should are you trying to be? Because there's usually a should in there that said, you should work here, you should do this, you should date there. What's that should that's making you should be happy? Well, I don't want to be happy right now. So what is the should? What is the current story? And once you know that, honestly, it's so easy then well, I shouldn't say so easy. It's the starting point to find out what's the gap between why you're not feeling happy now to how we can get you to happy. Then you look at that gap, and that's where the story exists.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you, Carrie. I so appreciate it. Congratulations again on all that you have done and are bringing forward. And I'm so excited to watch the Life Rewritten series unfold as you bring it forward, focused in on different areas to really help people build the story and the life they want to live that's them, not someone else. So thank you again. I so appreciate you, the work you do, and being part of our summit today.
Thank you, and thank you for everything you've done for me. And by the way, we still have another couple weeks. I've got more of the launch I got to do. Ha ha ha.
I look forward to it. It's brilliant. Good, 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 good. More to come. I love it.
And thank all of you for allowing me to join this great stage with all of you.
Well, viewers, we're going to take another pause and a moment to just drink in what Carrie has shared and write down a couple things that have touched your heart and touched your spirit that you're going to take with you. And I love this looking at the shoulds and getting rid of them and questioning them and really right, discovering that story underneath, I think is really, really great information. And then that key to helping write the story. And absolutely lean and get her book. Oh, and Carrie, can I bring you back on what's the best way for people to get their book? I realized I didn't have you share that.
Yes, Carrie K, I do have a link to it now on the website, Carrie KC West.
Perfect.
And it's on Amazon, all versions now, and the audio version will be out this summer.
Okay, perfect. I want to make sure if they're like, I need that book, that they know how to get it. So I appreciate that, Carrie. Thank you very, very much. And that can help us rewrite our stories and our life. Well, we have more in store for each and every one of you. And the next expert coming aboard is going to be doing a presentation for us and sharing. And I know you're going to love her energy, you're going to love her spirit. And I think you're going to be moved by all that she has to share and maybe challenged a little bit. It's good for us to be challenged a little bit. So I'm looking forward to what she has to share with us. So let me give you just a little bit about Sky. So Sky Bellarmine is a #1 international best-selling author, and she's actually bringing a trilogy forward. So 2 books have been released so far, and both have become international best-selling books, #1 international best-selling books. And I'm calling it the Solace Trilogy. Is that an okay title?
That's fine.
Getting a
Yes.
nod. Okay, good. That's what I've been calling it inside. So I'm glad that it's fine and okay to say. So the first one was Breaking Solace, and the second one is Escaping Solace. And the first book reached 3 countries and 31 best-selling categories with 3 #1s. The second book was Escaping Solace, reached 4 countries, 46 best-selling categories, and 5 #1s. So I love that the reach is growing and expanding. That makes me happy. Glad to see that. And I know there's a third book in the works, and that's coming soon because there was quite a cliffhanger at the end of book 2. So anyone who's read book 2, more is coming. More is coming. The cliffhanger was on purpose to keep the engagement and excitement going. Just sharing a little bit about Sky. Dynamic speaker, and she is resilient, a resilient overcomer. She survived a 20-year narcissistic abusive relationship and is now on a mission to really share her story through this trilogy and help others step out of toxic relationships and partnerships. And she really stands for being abused emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, anyway is not okay. And she's standing for you and wanting to really encourage and empower you to take those steps to build those healthy relationships and step out of those abusive ones. And you're going to hear that passion and that heart and positive joy as well as I bring aboard this amazing author and speaker. Welcome to the stage, our dynamic and powerful Sky Bellarmine. Welcome to the stage. And she's going to be sharing a presentation titled It's Time. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. Oh my gosh. And ladies, I just can't tell you how I feel. I'm on an energy high just from the inspiration all of you have shared so far. And thank you so much, Rebecca, for inviting me to be part of this today. And it's time. It's time. Time to wake up, stand up, and just realize that there are some toxic relationships or potential toxic relationships in your life. So think about it. On some level, we all have interactions with controlling or manipulating people in our lives. Whether it's work, whether it's home, whether it's school. I mean, we're organizations. Breaking Solace and Escaping Solace, like you said, transitioned from a fictional novel into self-help categories. So psychologists have been reading and recommending these books because of the research contained in them. Me and my team did a lot of research into narcissistic disorder. And so, they're talking about the reality and the authenticity of the storylines and how those are reaching out to them as psychologists and to their patients as well. So it's been quite the journey. A couple of ideas that I've shared, and you hear there's a lot of terminology, and one of it is codependency. Okay, so codependency and mental health and narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships and domestic abuse and domestic violence are self-help categories that appeared, on launch day for both books. And so that's really where we're going with this whole trilogy. And so we have the why. Okay, so the Breaking Solace first book is the why. You learn about the red flags on toxic relationships. And it was interesting, Rebecca mentioned my 20-year experience. The red flags were all there. They were there when I first met this guy, and I did not see it till later when people started pointing out to me, something's not quite right. Maybe you need to take an inventory of your relationship. And when I started looking at it, I realized, yeah, the red flags for narcissistic personality disorder were there front and center. But when you're, I don't want to use the word victim, but when you're the supply for a narcissist, when you're their ego source and their admirer and their person to blame for everything and person to rage at, you just don't you're not feeling your own feelings. You're not feeling yourself. And Carrie, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. And so, but I didn't realize that it was the relationship that was bringing those emotions to the surface in me. But then when the emotions come to the surface, the toxic person says, oh, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, and all that. And they're thinking, well, wait a minute, shouldn't I be reacting to all the cruelty and harshness? And they just say, oh, you're too sensitive. And so that's something I really had to learn a lot about, is just what does NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, mean? And really, you hear the terminology. So there was the movie Gaslight. You hear about gaslighting in 1944. And you see her character being gaslit by her spouse and giving up her interests for singing, for example. Well, that's what they want to do. The narcissist wants to isolate you, have you give up the people in your life. They want to isolate you, give up the people in your life. My ex drove my brother out of my life. My brother told me a little story later, but I mean, give up your passions, your interests, golf. I mean, okay, you said you don't want to play golf, but I play golf. So golf, piano, just all my interests. As long as I went and did all of his interests and built him up, then that was fine. So, I'm getting back into life. Book 3, there's the why. Then book 2, Escaping Solace, is the how. And that's really, how does the main character move out of it? And I've been talking about me the whole time, but let's talk about the characters. So Tally is a young interior designer in Newport Beach, California. And she is married to a very, very charming, witty, personable on the outside to other people guy named Blake. And they're trying to build their careers. He's a financial advisor. And she doesn't realize why she's being yelled at so often, and why he's lying, and why he has people trying to change her mind and reframe her actions and her words in erroneous ways. And so I get into like I said, the terminology. So the gaslighting. They're making you feel blame for every situation. If my ex lost his keys, it was my fault. If you had a bad day at work, it was my fault. It was, I know that's odd, and that I put up with it for so long. But anyway, so because you don't realize, I just didn't realize. So Tally is going through that experience. So Tally is living my experience through the pages of Breaking Solace, Escaping Solace. And then the third book, which will be out next year, is called Without Solace. And that is a paradox. Their last name is Solace. That's why that, peace. But she's learning that, this is not a peaceful relationship at all. And so there's other terminology. You've heard the term flying monkeys, maybe. Well, think about Wizard of Oz. What did the flying monkeys do? Well, they gathered information and brought it back. Okay, so that's what the narcissist has, people around them to get information about you and share back with them. There's love bombing in the future. I mean, excuse me, in the past, in the beginning of the relationship, it's all about the jewels and the dinners and the trips and everything. And then when they do get mad or something happens, or you decide to set some boundaries, they'll come back and do what's called hoovering, just like the vacuum cleaner. They're trying to rebuild that relationship. So after the divorce was done and my ex, he lost his job and he moved to another country and all that, he was still trying to hoover. I'm like, no, we're done. And so Tally's having to learn that because Blake is exhibiting all of those traits. And he has all the narcissistic personality disorder traits that he's exhibiting within these pages. There's what you learn to do over time is called gray rocking. And that's when you do start setting some boundaries and you can have hours of discussion and share nothing that they can either twist or use or turn against you. And it's a skill. It's a skill. So Tally is learning from her therapy sessions, her counselor, Shannon, how to work through this journey because it's a day-to-day challenge. And so she's building her tribe. I'll say really self-care, building your tribe, building your community are imperative for working through toxic relationships. And you'll hear different analogies. You'll hear it's like a chess game. They're always talking about the next move. And so I've written some blogs on that as well that I'll share later. But they're a puppeteer, like they're controlling your every move. That's what they want to do. They wear a mask. They don't show their true emotions. So if you can imagine that infamous iceberg slide, okay, where you have above the water with the blue sky and the ice and the glacier and all that. And then below, underneath the surface, is this massive piece of ice. Well, that's like the narcissist. Okay, so what they show to everybody else is the cute picture up top above the water surface. What those of us that have lived with a narcissist or on their radar screen or in their spectrum of life, we get what's all under it. Okay, we have to learn to work through and swim around, if you will, with the rages and the blame and the gaslighting and the flying monkeys and all that on a daily basis. So that's what Tally is going through in the book. Codependency is also, that's a topic that it showed up within the self-help categories. And that's really a hot topic right now as well as far as and narcissistic behaviors, because you have this codependency with the narcissist. So you're together. So they've probably sought you out as an intelligent empath because they don't have empathy. Narcissists don't have empathy. It's medically, scientifically shown that those neurons are missing. So they're looking for you to help build them up and affirm them and give them strength and courage and build their ego and their self-esteem and all that. And then you, as an intelligent empath, are thinking, oh my God, they need me. So my ex said, please don't ever let me become like my controlling dad when we were in college. And so I said, okay, sure, I'll help. And so, but one of the last questions I asked him after I filed for divorce was, you became like your dad. Why? And he said, well, of course I'm like my dad. It takes a man to run this household, is what he told me. And that's the truth. So Tally's working through those types of conversations in the book series, the trilogy as well. And one thing that she does, the readers will get into her mind. You get into Tally's mind with the Dear Josie journaling post. And I highly recommend the journaling to really understand what's going on in the mind, how she's handling the abuse. And also she is working with her counselor, Shannon, to try to unravel Blake's unexplainable behaviors. Okay, that's really key. So within the pages of the first two books, like I said, it's Breaking Solace is kind of the why. And one of my friends said, yeah, it's a psychological thriller. But he wouldn't say it's a whodunit. It's a he did it and what's she gonna do about it. So that's kind of a phrase that I use pretty often. But Tally really reaches out to friends and family to build her tribe and brings her therapist in. She gets some legal help. She's into training like exercising, working out, and that's where the self-care really comes in. And what are your passions? How can you preserve yourself and start to work to become the best version of yourself? And that's one of the messages from the book, is just that, bottom line, you are enough. So often in toxic relationships, we're told that we're not. You are strong. And just to get started on really identifying what type of relationship you're in and whether do I stay or do I go, realize that it all begins with start. And what's the most difficult part of doing anything? It's starting, right? So I have my license plate on my car that is START, starting with knowing that you have the strength. Just internally, you've got to believe you've got the strength to make this decision, okay? To work through this relationship and whatever steps you need to take for healing or recovery or moving on. You have tenacity, okay? The T is for tenacity. Being adaptable is key in all of this, okay? So that you're moving into a new life. Third book, I would say, without solace, the first book is the why, the second is the how. I'd say it's the love. You learn to love yourself. The R in start is resiliency. Okay. And we all have it. There's all seeds of resiliency in us. It's just sometimes we're in situations or relationships that really try to squelch that down, but we can nourish it. We've got our tribe, we've got our self-care, we've got our journaling, we've got our therapist. Okay. So we can work through this to realize we've got some resiliency in there. And when you're working through it and you're coming out on the other side, you're triumphant. Okay. So we move on, we figure out what are the next steps, and you can walk away from the chaos. Okay, so God will carry you if you let him. It's time to reclaim your life. It's time to shine. It's time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sky. I like that. It's time. Absolutely time for us to step forward and embrace all that we are and reclaim it. Just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I have a question, and I actually have a question of my own, just because you and I have talked a lot behind the scenes. And one of the things I know that you're working on, and you shared, has to do with the 20 things. And I thought that might tie nicely into this conversation around its time. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So it was during divorce. It was 3 months after I had filed. And one of my best friends said, you need to make a list. It needs to be 20 reasons. I said, what? So, well, you're working with the legal team. In case you ever doubt, or anybody ever doubts why you are walking away from this relationship that you've been in for so long, you need to have that written down. And so I typed out the 20 reasons that I was divorcing my ex, gave it to my attorney. And then during that 21-month process, because when you're in a toxic relationship and you decide to walk away, they're going to fight you on it, but you can walk the path. Okay. So you can journey through it, but you might have to remind yourself and others around you why you're doing what you're doing, why you're choosing this. I mean, it's the biggest, boldest decision in my life, to say, hey, I don't need to put up, and people around me say, don't put up with it anymore, Sky, you got this. And so that's why I pulled that list out probably 5 or 6 times during that whole process, as a reminder to myself and as a reminder to my tribe, on why I was making these moves. And so Rebecca and I were kind of talking about this idea the other day, and that's going to be kind of a product that I start promoting is the 20 reasons, the 20 reasons for doing what you're doing. And Rebecca threw out some great ideas, like going to school, starting a career, opening a business. It can be a reason for anything. It's not just relationship driven. It's life decision driven. So that's the 20 reasons. And I still have that piece of paper and I look at it every now and then.
I love it. I love it. Really having that in front of us to remind us of why we're doing things when we doubt, if we doubt at times. So I love that you're bringing that forward. And then I do have a question from one of our viewers here. It says, I'm healing from a narcissistic relationship. And I thank you for sharing this. I am a trusting person, and these walls are difficult to maintain. Can you share a few red flags?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's, they compliment you without reason. Okay. They want to bring you in. One thing that came up in a blog that I wrote recently too was they always want to know, they always want you to say something positive about them as well. So they always say, well, why do you love me? And I thought it was just a romantic curiosity for 20 years. And then I started thinking toward the end, because it would be, you say, oh, you're cute, you have a big heart, whatever, whatever it is. And then blue eyes, whatever it was. And then they say, well, tell me more. And they're always wanting more. Like anything you do is not good enough. Okay. And you'll read about Tally, and the same thing happened with me. Anything I did was never good enough. And he tried to convince everybody that I was not, mentally right and all that kind of mess. And so it's been interesting because before this experience today, the guy that I'm dating, actually engaged to, said, oh, you're going to do great. I know it's going to be wonderful and da da da. And it's like, it's just encouraging. Like he said, I'm not going to tell you, going to say good luck, because the whole event's going to be beautiful. And I'm like, and I was walking back into the house after he left, and I was like, wait a minute, I've never experienced that. So the red flags, meaning they're not encouraging you, but to maintain these boundaries, like you're starting to do, you've got to learning the gray rocking. If you do have to communicate with this person, don't give them anything that can be used back at you. So that's it. Self-care, again, self-care, journaling, and building your community are absolutely imperative.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sky. I appreciate it. And I hope that served and supported our viewer. Now, for people who want to connect and go deeper, what is the best way for them to do that?
Okay, wonderful. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Also, my website is starskypress.com, StarSkyPress.com. Or you can go directly, my web designer, Anna, she's awesome. She put both book titles. So breakingsolacebook.com, escapingsolacebook.com. Those will also take you right there. Books are available, linking there, also on Amazon.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing today and supporting all of our amazing viewers. And I'm excited about your 20 reasons that you're bringing forward and really helping people with those big changes and transitions. I think we all need support in that. And I think that's a great takeaway. If there's a change that we're looking to make in our life, it might be good to just start writing down the whys. And I know we kind of talked off the cuff a little bit about that if you can't come up with very many reasons why, that might be something to look at too. And really see, what you're really wanting to do. And is it tying into the shoulds that Carrie talked about? Or is it really something coming from the core of who you are, of what you're wanting to bring forward? Because you have amazing value and worth and are absolutely needed in the world. And I hope that all of the different messages, Sky, I so appreciate your heart and spirit and willingness to share and stand in this space. And each one of our experts today, I hope that all of you are feeling that value, that support. And I feel like these are all strong women standing for you and encouraging you to stand for you too. And to really bring forward those things that matter most to you. One of the reasons I love the background that we had and tied it into the event is I believe the choices we make how we're showing up in the world creates an impact that extends far reaching, and that there's room for each of us to shine. So I like the stars in the sky. So there's a place for all of us. All of us can shine, and we can become shooting stars, and we can really bring that light forward. And I feel like our amazing guests today have done that. They're shining brightly for each of you, and you also can shine for others, creating that legacy that we opened our conversation with, going on your own journey and claiming your healing, really choosing how you're going to write your story. What story are you telling? What are you bringing forward? How are you going to choose those healthy relationships that lift you up, that are in alignment with who you are? We can release all the shoulds, break those molds, and really step into who you truly are. And I loved how Carrie said, be me, like be who you are, be you, and bring that forward. That is a gift. There's no one else in the world just like you. And you are absolutely needed the way you're made, the way you're wired, the perspective even of how you look at the world brings such value to each of us. So one of the things I close my radio show with every time is encouraging you to be willing to share more of the gift of who you are, being willing to bloom where you're planted, wherever that may be, and choose to shine, choose to share the gift of who you are in the world. It makes a difference. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you sharing and shining your lights out into the world. And I hope that today has given you some great food for thought and perspectives, that you remember to be extra kind to yourself. Allow yourself time to process on a cellular level. These shifts and things that we're talking about are not an overnight thing. So allowing yourself time to process and integrate, to pause and drink in all that serves, breathing out, releasing what no longer does. So an extra credit bonus tip I want to give you is, as we bring the time together to a close, we've actually finished a little bit early, and this is to serve and support you, because guess what? You just got some extra time in your day. How are you going to use it? What are you going to choose to do? Because the day doesn't get to be in charge. I don't know why it thinks it does sometimes, but the day doesn't get to be in charge. You do. I encourage you to use this time. Perhaps it's to go outside and process and integrate, breathe in, to listen to what's bubbling up within you, to breathe and look at what's laid out as options. It's not the have to do list, the shoulds, the options that are laid before you. And how are you going to choose to navigate through those? See if anything is shifted. And it can even be a shift in the energy of how we hold that. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for spending some of it with us. And I hope that as you go forward, you choose to connect in with our amazing experts, that their books and resources can be of great support to you in your library, and that you really carry forward those gems that have been planted into your heart, into your spirit, and let them grow. Let them become part of who you are, those ones that are kind of pulling you forward, helping you remember even, because sometimes we forget. And I love that line from The Lion King, remember who you are. Remember who you are and choose to share that with the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we will look forward to talking to you next time.